on to the next item, which is the acting mayor language. And in previous meetings of this council, we had approved increasing the threshold from a simple majority to a 2/3 majority.
I'd like to make a motion that we make it just a simple majority to elect an acting mayor.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Iles, seconded by Councilmember Harris, that we delete the supermajority requirement. All right, Councilmember Davis and then Kelly, and then we need to kind of wrap this up here.
I'm not in a rush to wrap it up because we're basically talking about how we're going to appoint our next mayor. If certain events happen, but I want to clarify, I'm sorry, I can't let it go. I have a legal background and I also have a very strong sense of when something feels unfair. This is a motion to reconsider. I don't think that we can paint it any other way. And we have rules that we're talking about right now for what counts as a motion to reconsider. And it also specifically says that that motion has to be made at the same meeting. So if we're not going to follow the rules, first of all, why are we here? We'll start there. But secondly, remove it, make it consistent. We can't play these games where we have rules apply sometimes, not other times. I want to know when something is proper in a motion. And what I'll also bring up, while I'm airing some dirty laundry that has upset me slightly, when we were talking about the Envision Evanston provision regarding upzoning, I talked to someone on council and they said, actually I didn't talk to someone, I talked to the mayor, and he said, I hope that when we have this revote to be back in procedure, that we don't change the language, right? And so I take issue with the fact that we are revisiting an issue that we already, discussed and decided. We're talking about the exact provision. There are no differences. There's nothing added. It's not even a slight modification the way the Envision Evanston clause was. And we have a motion to reconsider that is being made improperly and not according to the rules. And I will not let it go. I will not let it go. I disagree with, I actually think that at this point, the city's attorney has conceded, as have a couple of members of city council. And if we concede that this is a motion to reconsider, it's improper. And I also do not take, and I hate when people say, well, we did the wrong thing before, let's keep doing the wrong thing. That's absurd. So I don't care what vote we did earlier. If you want to strike that vote because it's improper, do it. The 3 votes or 5 votes for city council or whatever else are for making a special order of business, we can do it. As it applies to this, if we are so worried that we can't get it together to get a supermajority, then I would rather we just pick someone at random. So because if we're trying to pretend as if it doesn't matter, as if whoever's in that position has no say or has no sway on the next mayoral election, then I believe that all of us were equally elected because our wards are about the same size and we are equally competent. I hope that you would think, and if you don't, you should think about how you feel as with regards to camaraderie, and not make it something that we can use as a political ploy. And if the threat of a random person being picked out that you don't like isn't enough to help you to decide who you can concede and plausibly find palatable, then that's what it is. So if we are going to, well, first, as I've said repeatedly, and I need very, very clear explanation because I'm not buying it and I don't really appreciate how people keep skirting over the fact that this is a rule and a motion to reconsider, and it's by the book. It's not even a slight deviation. Once we concede that this is not a motion to reconsider, that there is language in here that is not explicit, that is pretext, I need that clarified. I want it specific. I want it added in. All right, it should be in here. And then I also, after that, I would be up for making a motion, assuming that this is a proper motion to reconsider, this is not a motion, that we also make it an option for, by majority vote, the mayor can be selected at random. So that is my question. My question specifically to council, to city attorney again is, we are sure that this is not a motion to reconsider, because I will be asking outside the context of this space to clarify, because I'm fairly confident it is.
Thank you for your question, Councilmember Davis. The rule that that I was looking at is 22 about reconsideration. So votes to approve a purchase, contract, bond sale, zoning variation, or special use, those may be reconsidered at the same meeting. But the vote taken on any other motion may be reconsidered, but only at the next regular meeting held after the meeting at which said vote was taken. And unless I have a completely wrong version of. Okay, I apologize. I'm going to have to look into this some more. Hold on.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I want to thank Councilmember Parielle Davis for her legal mind, courage, and clarity. She sees what's unfolding, something that feels legally questionable and deeply unfair to the residents she was elected to protect. It takes real strength to stand up in a system where silence is easier. But Parielle is doing what true leadership looks like, asking the hard legal questions, pushing for fairness, and making sure the people of Evanston aren't left behind in the process. We see you, Parielle, and we thank you for standing tall for the people. It's no secret that Councilmember Jonathan Nieuwsma often aligns closely with Mayor Biss, even when residents raise serious concerns about how those decisions impact the community, more importantly, cost the community. Many in Evanston believe Daniel Biss would like Jonathan Nieuwsma to step in if he wins a seat in Congress, because Nieuwsma can be counted on to move in lockstep with the mayor's agenda, which we have seen is not good. That's not leadership, that's loyalty to power. And when power becomes about money and control instead of people, it's the residents who pay the price. No to Jonathan Nieuwsma becoming the acting mayor, but they're trying to force it down our throats anyway.
I would have to agree with lots of what Councilmember Davis said. I realize that we can bring things back repeatedly, but it seems like we do it based on who's in the room at the time. And if that is our policy, then I would say that when we get to the comprehensive general plan, I intend to relitigate a bunch of issues as I see fit, because that's what we're able to do. In terms of the 2/3, it is something we are allowed to do. The discussion that I listened to said that state law was quiet on this issue about whether a home rule city was able to do this. We, from my intention at the last meeting, voted to do this, to make it a 2/3 vote. At the minimum, I would like to see the language that has been stricken from here included regarding the 130 days and everything else, rather than just saying pursuant to some statute that nobody knows what it means without looking it up. So I would advise at least that be done. But this has never been an issue that I can think of before council. I think we all know why it is an issue this time. But I cannot support this. I voted against it previously, requiring a 2/3 vote, and I would do the same again. I think that Councilmember Davis makes an excellent point that if we indeed, it seems unfair that the 9 of us should be able to decide a mayor for up to 28 months or so, potentially being elected by us and not by the people. And to me, that seems a disenfranchisement of the people of the city of Evanston.
Thank you, Councilmember Matt Rodgers, for standing up for the truth. He called out what too many try to gloss over. State law is silent on how an acting mayor is chosen, yet city staff and Daniel Biss loyalists tried to make residents believe a simple majority vote was required by law. It's not. That kind of framing misleads the public, and Matt refused to let it slide. That is exactly why we must stay alert, because this is what it would look like under Jonathan Nieuwsma as acting mayor. Selective information, spin, and deals that just don't serve the residents. We saw it before when Daniel Biss gave former Corporation Counsel Nick Cummings the authority that expanded Northwestern's influence over Evanston land during the whole rezoning of the new Ryan Stadium for concerts. Jonathan Nieuwsma defended it as, quote unquote, just for clarity, but court records showed otherwise, and even the judge felt uncomfortable. It was denied, thank God. Matt Rodgers stood up for transparency in this Rules Committee and fairness. That's leadership.
Depending on when a vacancy occurs, it could be up to a 2-year term. Is that correct? Statutes, right? I mean, it'll be up to 2 years of an unexpired term. And in order to be the mayor of a city of 75,000 people, you would have to convince 4 other people to vote for you. I think that's bogus. And I think those of you who think a simple majority is enough know that it's bogus too. And I also think that it's unfortunate that we're in this situation. We're here because of a self-interested choice by someone who chose to run for mayor.
Shout out to Councilmember Tom Suffredin for saying what so many are thinking, calling this bogus attempt to push a simple majority over a supermajority exactly what it is. He said it plainly. We wouldn't even be in this position if the current mayor were truly acting in the city's best interests instead of his own. That's what courage looks like, speaking truth in a room full of politics. Tom stood up for fairness, process, and residents who are tired of the games.
I feel very strongly that this motion should be withdrawn, this motion to reconsider. It's really out of order. And I feel very strongly about that because I didn't even like this reconsideration rule that, came in last term where it had to happen at the same meeting. And I fought against it, but now we have it, so let's stick to it. Let's not bend the rules. And it's very clear. It says for any vote. It says motion. It lists, in some cases you need 2/3, in some cases you need a simple majority at the same meeting. But the language is very clear. And this is a motion to reconsider what we voted on last time. This is out of order, so I think it should be, it should be dropped immediately, and we should stay what we voted on, which was a 2/3 vote. That would be following our rules. And anything short of that would be making a mockery of our rules and of the Rules Committee.
Claire Kelly called it exactly as it is. We can't keep bending or breaking our own rules to fit the agenda of a few. When government starts rewriting process to serve personalities instead of people, that's when trust is lost. She reminded everyone that integrity and leadership means following the same rules you expect the public to follow, not shifting them when it benefits you. Her courage to speak up in a room where silence is easier proves she's standing on principle, not politics. Thank you, Claire Kelly.
Mayor Biss is seeking recognition for the first time.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I've been quiet on this issue for obvious reasons, namely that by definition, whatever might trigger this provision would certainly involve me not being around to implement it, unlike the rest of you. But the question that's now before us is one that directly impacts my conduct of my role as mayor. And so I just want to really, from the Corporation Council, seek clarification to make sure that I'm doing my job properly going forward. My understanding is that a motion to reconsider is a motion that one might file after a vote has been taken to say, I actually have changed my mind. I want to make a motion to reconsider. If that passes, we reopen the question and then we take another vote on the previous item where I get to then vote differently because I've changed my mind. What I understood Councilmember Iles to do, maybe I got this wrong, but what I understood Councilmember Iles to do was to say, hey, here we are making a bunch of amendments on a thing over the course of a number of months, and I'm going to make another amendment. And that, as Councilmember Burns said, is not only how we've handled the comprehensive plan, but how I as mayor have handled everything, which is to say when an item is open, a motion gets made to make an amendment, that motion passes or fails, and then there's an opportunity for others to make another motion to make another amendment. And so I would just ask for guidance from the Corporation Counsel's office about in all those instances, are those sort of secretly motions to reconsider, or is it in fact the case that while an item is live, it's in order for a series of motions to be made proposing a series of different amendments to the same language?
Thank you, Mayor Biss. That has been certainly in the process of creating any draft document in particular. That has been the way things have been done.
So, let me just, I just want to clarify a question. I'm not trying to, and maybe this is a little bit different than what Councilmember Iles said. I'm not trying to sort of create a potentially artificial distinction between a draft document and something else. I'm saying, let's say we're debating an ordinance. The ordinance is under discussion. Somebody makes a motion to amend it. That motion passes or doesn't. Then someone makes a motion to make a different amendment. That motion passes or doesn't. It might affect the previous motion that was already adopted, the previous amendment that's already adopted. In that situation, must that be a motion to reconsider, or is it allowable for a motion to amend something that perhaps undoes a previous amendment already adopted to just be made as a motion to amend? That's my specific question.
No, council may always, vote to change things that it's done previously. That whether you call it an amendment or not, I would definitely not consider that the same thing as a motion to reconsider, which would come up in a situation where somebody wishes to change a vote that they had just made, as opposed to making an amendment to something that council has done previously, and now there needs to be a change done. That certainly is consistently within the function of government to be able to make those changes.
All right, so I want to be clear that the direction we are receiving from legal staff is that this discussion is in order, as was the previous discussion. We had to change the requirement to...
As a point of order, the
to
three
convene,
members, according to the minutes,
to
was
convene,
never voted on.
a
It was
special order
withdrawn,
of
so it's
business.
not considered a motion to reconsider. It's
So
on the minutes,
this
July 25th.
conversation is in order, is what we are, is the direction we are being given from legal staff. So
All I have to say about Daniel Biss is he's perfected the politician's trick. Sound open, say nothing, and hope no one notices. Biss has mastered the illusion of transparency, all words, no truth. He's not leading, he's performing. And unfortunately, too many are still clapping. God help us if he makes it to D.C. It only gets worse from there.
I was going to make the exact same point Councilmember Davis was trying to make just a moment ago. It's not true that we reconsidered or voted again on the 3 council member rule. That was withdrawn. It was never voted on. So I just want to clear that for the record, that there was no vote taken on that, so you can't equate the two.
In the minutes that we all just approved. In the minutes that we all just approved, it says it.
Okay, thank you so much. So yes, I was on the prevailing side and didn't quite understand at that time, as some of us don't understand the ramifications.
Councilmember Krissie Harris now says she didn't understand the very vote she supported months ago, yet wants to change it to fit someone else's agenda. Evanston needs the leaders who actually read through everything, really think about it, and stand firm the first time. God help us.
I think that, again, we have split decisions up here. We're not very clear. People pick sides. I believe we pick sides based on who made the motion, who did this and that. And I don't know that a supermajority is necessary.
I'd like to make a motion to, I guess, like hold or stay, whichever one is appropriate, this particular issue until until council, city's attorney is able to make a stronger recommendation as to what is proper. So for the next meeting, I guess. Is the table a motion to table?
I would support that to the next meeting. The first way you explained it might be a little confusing, but if we can just table it to the next rules meeting, I would support that.
I will take that as a motion from Councilmember Davis, a second from Councilmember Burns to table this item until the next meeting of the Rules Committee.